Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Broku. Today's video, yes, it's about Black Clover light speed once again. It's another video I've been making on this. I've been requested to make another video on this subject, and with more arguments and more evidence out there, fine, I guess let's make another video. And so, yeah, there's still debate. Oh, are Black Clover characters light speed? Are they faster than light? And it's unequivocally yes. It's not really even debatable at this point, and the people who are just disagreeing either just don't know what they're talking about, or they just don't want Black Clover to be light speed, and therefore that's why they argue it. But there is one, I guess, decent argument against it, but still pretty easily debunkable. I'm going to go through that, but let's just go from a few things first, and then talk about why light speed really isn't that crazy. First off, in terms of just technology right now, we're nowhere near light speed travel. There are many scientists who believe that we will get to light speed travel. There's many scientists who believe that we will get to faster than light travel. It's pretty hotly debated. It just kind of depends on how long the human race survives. But anyways, in Black Clover, if Dorothy can create infinite-sized universes where she can make her dreams come to reality, can have infinite everlasting attacks from a scientific standpoint, that makes light speed look like a middle school science project. Creating your own infinite universe based on your dreams, making your dreams come to reality, that is far beyond light speed. So if you were hung up on, light speed being in Black Clover because that's just too crazy, well, Dorothy's glamour world is way crazier and it's not even close. Yami cutting through dimensions and basically having infinite three-dimensional attack potency is far above light speed. Spatial magic causes instantaneous movement. Instant is not necessarily a speed. It's still far beyond light speed though, because wherever you go, you get there instantly. Julius reverses time across an entire country is far more scientifically impressive than moving at light speed. He reversed time across an entire country. We don't know the exact time, could be a few seconds, but still, that is far more impressive than moving at light speed. The devil can warp reality with his words, and because he's from a different dimension, can't get damaged by normal magic. Fate manipulation is beyond light speed. Changing fates. Fate as a concept, according to Plato, scales beyond space-time, so fate manipulation is above light speed. You even have people affecting souls and bringing people back from the dead. These are so many different crazy things that, scientifically, just shit on light speed. They shit on light speed, make light speed look like a middle school science project. So, yeah, if you're gonna try and say that, oh, well, light speed's just too crazy for Black Clover. Well, if light speed's too crazy for Black Clover, then Dorothy's too crazy for Black Clover. Then Julius is too crazy. Then the devil is too crazy. Then Longress is too crazy. Then Yami is too crazy. So, that is not an argument to say that light speed is too crazy for Black Clover. This is a world where people can train their physical bodies to superhuman levels, then can put magic on top of that, and then you can just train everlasting forever. So, yeah, saying that light speed can't be a thing because it's just too crazy is a false claim, because Dorothy can create infinite-sized universes, and she's within the Black Clover universe. So, yeah. We're going to be approaching light speed and faster in terms of our real-world science before we can use our dreams to make actual universes that affect the real world. So, with that being said, just want to put that out there. Now, let's talk about I'd say the best argument for Black Clover. Now, the thing with this argument is that it does actually claim that, yes, there is light speed in Black Clover, but only for a few specific things. And that is Patri's quote-unquote light movement spell, even though it doesn't have a name. The Ray of Divine Punishment. Those are the only two things that are light speed, as they are the ones that have the light speed statements in the official translations. You have Raya doing the same movement spell that Patri does, and Yami says light speed. Ray of Divine Punishment, Ghosh says light speed. Yami says light speed for the movement spell. So, people will argue that those are the only things that can move at light speed. They're far above everything else in Black Clover, therefore, basically nobody else is close to light speed. It's just Patri, and then Lumiere, Licht, and then Nozel, and I'll kind of explain basically when Patri used the movement spell against Nozel, Nozel's Mercury actually moved faster than that. But This is, I guess, a pretty easily debunkable argument, though. And so, while you could maybe use this argument to try and say that characters before the elf arc are not, consensusly light speed, like Asta and stuff like that, or Veto, but even then, it still doesn't, prove much. Now, yes, there's this light speed movement spell, but the thing is, within the manga, pretty much whenever Patri moves when he's fighting Yami, he's using that. In the anime, they make it kind of like it's a completely own different thing, and then in the game after the, the game that takes place after the anime, the game came out after this anime episode, it basically is saying that Patri is teleporting. Yami says he's moving, the game says he's teleporting. It's just kind of like artistic flair to show Patri moving like this, that it's so fast. But anyways, if you just agree that, okay, when Patri moves with the movement spell, or the Ray of Divine Punishment, it's light speed. But we also know the Ray of Divine Punishment is faster than light, because it is implied by Patri to be faster. It's his strongest spell. And even in the guidebook, if you look, basically what it says for Patri is that, oh, light magic, it's strong, and it's really fast. And then it goes through a bunch of his spells. The only spell that is specifically stated to be fast is the Ray of Divine Punishment, which by that you can take as another implication that the Ray of Divine Punishment is Patri's fastest spell, which means if it is its fastest, it would have to be faster than light, because if the movement spell is light speed, then if the Ray of Divine Punishment is faster, then it's faster than light. Now people say, oh, well, it's not because it stated light speed. But guys, just because they are saying light speed doesn't mean it has to be the same exact speed. If it's 10% faster, sure. Is it technically faster than light? Yes, it's technically faster than light, but it's so close that people might still call it light speed. Same thing with Raya's movement spell. People say that Raya isn't stronger than Patri because Raya, when he used the movement spell, didn't somehow get any faster than Patri despite Raya having more mana. But the thing is here is that Raya moved from a further distance and was able to touch Yami's grimoire. Yami didn't react fast enough, whereas before Yami even knew Patri could do this move, Yami was reacting to it without difficulty. Yet when Raya does it, it's harder. So you could easily argue that Raya was still faster. Yami just said light speed because, again, it's a tier, and therefore Raya is moving faster than light. It makes sense because, one, Raya is stated to be far above Patri. And that's what people say is that, it's stated multiple times the third eye are way above Patri. If they are, they'd have to be faster. I mean, Veto he has the reactions, maybe he could keep up if he's slower, but Fauna and Raya don't. If they don't have the reactions, they're not winning. If they don't have the speed, they're not winning, just even if they're stronger. Basically, if they surpass him in combat and they're stronger, that means they defeat him. That means that they would have to be at least extremely close in speed to Patri's Light's movement spell, but more logically, way faster. And this, again, proves another point here, is that if you just assume the light movement spell or light speed, the Ray of Divine Punishment or light speed, well, it is the law of the Black Clover power system that if you increase your mana, you get faster. It's shown in every single instance, and yes, even with light magic. Lumiere, with his light movement spell, which is very similar to Patri's, he moves, and the devil, without difficulty, reacts to him moving. But when he uses Mana Zone, which is a mini-time amp in power, the devil has a much harder time of reacting to Lumiere. Now, this proves that light magic does get faster, and again, it's proven again with demon light magic, when Patri gets a double amp by getting more mana, and by getting a stronger version of light magic, demon light magic. So, again, this proves that light speed, or light magic, can get faster. People say that, oh, well, light magic can only move at the speed of light because it's light, but Yuno's wind goes faster than any wind that's ever been recorded, ever. Same with many other magic types. There are multiple ways to scale this Black Clover power system. Anyways, you have Patri in the cave. Patri fights Julius, who's way above Cave Patri. Then you have Elf Patri, which is a many times amp. People still love to downplay the Elven amp. It's a huge amp, guys. It's stated that Elf Gauche was worlds above what he was before. There's so many other statements that show that characters are way, way stronger as an elf. There's no point of trying to debunk. Remember, Longrus got a partial amp from the Elven amp when he was fighting Asta, and that was a 2 times increase, just a partial amp. So, you have Elf Patri, who's at least 2 times stronger than the base Patri who fought Julius. Then you have Dark Elf Patri, who gets a double amp, getting more mana, and gets Demon Light Magic. Yet Asta is still reacting to Patri's movement spell. And he reacts to the Ray of Divine Punishment. As you can see here, it's right in front of him. Then Asta switches his swords, pulls his sword out, and blocks in time, showing that he can react to the Ray of Divine Punishment from Demon or Dark Elf Patri, who uses Demon Light Magic. So this would be many times faster than the light speed or low level, faster than light Ray of Divine Punishment that we saw in the cave. So there's not really an argument to debunk that Patri's fastest spells are light speed. They're stated light speed multiple times in the series. And it is stated that Black Clover magical elements work similar, very similar to their real world counterparts. And if it's light, then it's light. And just because it's light doesn't mean it has to only move at light speed. There's actually real life scientific arguments that we can increase light. And if they're using a supernatural form of energy called mana, and these are wizards controlling elements, it's not really that hard of a logical conclusion to think, oh, maybe they can make their elements better than that they are, because it's taking an element and just stabbing in, injecting in a supernatural form of energy within sight of itself. So, again, huge proof there that it's light speed. But again, people say, well, the Patri's normal attacks, the swords are not light speed, or they're not as fast as the movement spell of Ray Divine Punishment. Well, I would pretty much agree that the swords maybe not be as fast as the movement spell or the Ray Divine Punishment, but there is definite proof that they are very close in speed. There's even a feat where they move faster than the movement spell. So if we just talk about base Patri versus Julius, we know from the guidebook that Julius throws back magical attacks at double the speed. He threw back one of Patri's attacks back at Patri, and Patri barely was able to dodge it. He was using the movement spell, and remember, this is a sword that's only been doubled in speed, yet Patri can barely react and dodge it. That would show that it's close in speed. Then you have Elf Patri against the Devil. He was almost hit by his own attacks that were just reverted back to him. Again, that would show a bunch of evidence that they're not that much slower than his movement spell. And then you even have this feat right here when Dark Elf Patri is fighting Austin. You know, he uses his movement spell to dodge the Spirit Storm. Within this movement spell, he throws out the different sword attacks and hits Yuno. And you could actually argue that from where they were launched, those swords moved a further distance than Patri and his movement spell moved. Which would mean that in that instance, those swords move faster than Patri's movement spell. So, if you have multiple feats showing that the swords are close in speed versus one feat that shows the swords faster, you could easily just argue that the swords are extremely close. And you could just argue that they are just baseline light speed in the beginning. Patri's movement spell is faster than light. Because remember, I talked about there's tiers of light speed. There pretty much has to be, since it's stated the Ray of Divine Punishment is his fastest spell, but was also stated to be light speed, even though his movement spell was light speed, even though Yami said that Patri moved faster. So, it's just, there's a tier of light speed. We don't know exactly what the speed is. And we have Lumiere. This is how we can prove, like, Austin, you know, are way beyond light speed. Lumiere, he has way more mana than the elves. This is stated by Finral. And he has basically the same light movement spell. But he has that paired with elven mana. And so, you have the devil reacting to the movement spell. No difficulty. A suppressed devil. Then, you have the devil, when he's fighting Licht and Lumiere at the same time, Lumiere is now using Mana Zone. And he's reacting to Lumiere and Licht. They are too fast for him, because it's a 2-on-1 and they're both fast. But he actually dodges this sword from Lumiere. Now, remember, Lumiere is using a movement spell that is based like Patri's. He's, you know, we know that Lumiere is way above Patri in speed, right? And the sword is moving just as fast as him, showing he can move the sword as fast as his movement spell. And he throws at the devil reacts and dodges it. And guys, this is a suppressed devil. Austin, fight a stronger version because they piss him off more and he uses his full power. I'll show you the scan here. He's not using his full power to the end of the fight, and Austin, fight him after that and fight his advanced versions of the leech monsters from the otherworld magic. So, yes, you can easily argue that Austin are very close, if not as fast as Lumiere. Remember, this is not a full power Lumiere, but still, if the devil can react and dodge while suppressed to this attack from Lumiere, who's way faster than Elf Pottery's light speed or whatever tier, then yeah, Austin, would have to be similar, very close to that speed if they're fighting a stronger and faster devil. So like I kind of said, if you just argue that only the Ray Divine Punishment and the movement spell were light speed to faster than light, you could still easily argue that characters in the Elf arc are way faster than light because characters are reacting to the movement spell. They're reacting to Ray Divine Punishment. Austin reacts to the movement spell. He reacts to the Ray Divine Punishment when they fought Demon or Dark Elf Pottery. But the thing is, I've already pretty much provided more than enough evidence that the swords are extremely close to the speed of the movement spell. It's really close. Would be, I guess, probably more than half the speed. And if we already know that the Black Clover elements move like the elements in real life, then you could just still easily argue that those basic sword attacks are still light speed. As, remember, Asta was completely just blindsided by these attacks, and he was pretty strong at that point, and he couldn't even get close to reacting to it, and that was a very weaker version of Pottery who was suppressed. So that's pretty much kind of, I guess, my argument is if you just think that only Pottery's light speed movement spell and his Ray Divine Punishment are the only things that are confirmed to be light speed, well, if characters are reacting to, moving, and like Nozel, he moved faster than the movement spell, he moved faster than the Ray Divine Punishment, or as Mercury did, then he's way beyond light speed. And, Lumiere is way above Pottery in terms of speed. He's using the same magic, same 4-leaf clover, and he's using Mana Zone. He's way above Pottery, and the devil's reacting to Lumiere and dodging attacks while suppressed, but still has trouble against Austin, while using full power. So it's, like I said, if you agree to Pottery being that, then you have to agree to Lumiere, then you have to agree to everybody else who scales to Lumiere and the devil. So that's pretty much the argument. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Please do subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...